So there are a lot of side hustle options out there in this gig economy, ways to make money, different apps and niches. And I've basically done all the major ones. And actually, I first started way back in October of 2015 here in Pittsburgh with this platform that we're going to go over today. It is Uber driving for rideshare. But frankly, I have not done it in years. In my opinion, I found easier, faster, arguably safer, and just better ways to make money in this side hustle economy. But I noticed on their YouTube profile, Uber posted some videos going over some of their drivers, well, specifically their highest earning drivers. So you and I need to watch this. We need to react in real time to see if, hey, is this something that we should be looking into again in 2022 and 2023? Because let's be frank, I mean, the demand, I feel, let me know if you agree with this down below in the comments, has just tanked with rideshare, really being the first kind of fundamental side hustle, but there's so many other options out there. So let's see how much these drivers are really making. So I haven't seen these videos yet, and we can see here updated 3 hours ago. So this is brand new. And I swear they had videos like 2 or 3 days ago talking about US drivers. So these are drivers in Canadian markets. We'll still take a look at the numbers, obviously, but I'm really curious if those were removed, and if so, when we'll see some US driver-based numbers. But I haven't seen this. So let's see hopefully see some numbers here. How much did you earn last week on Uber?
2,107.
2,107. All right, here's a big thing. How many hours did you work?
I worked 47 hours, 20 minutes.
All right, 47 hours, 24 minutes. That is 35 an hour. Now, did you notice what I noticed? Down here at the bottom, it says your typical earnings may vary and may be lower depending on how much you drive, rider demand, other variables. The amounts referenced in this video should not be used as an expectation for future earnings opportunities with Uber. Okay, median hourly earnings of drivers in Vancouver from 2022, in maybe the week measured, it says like June until late June, who drove approximately over 20 hours or more per week was Canadian 36 an hour. Okay.
Around $5,000
Oh, in the last 4 weeks, $5,000 to $6,000. In the last 4 weeks.
Oh, this is basically family expenditure and my personal expenditures.
Okay, what advice do you have for drivers looking to generate higher earnings?
Be slow, don't be aggressive on street. There is no point in rushing.
Pause. Listen, I mean, kudos to this driver. I said from day one, I mean, Uber or Lyft, it does not matter. Frankly, any niche, any app, do not rush. Do not rush going through your gigs, because I've done it. And I remember doing this in San Diego when I was doing, food delivery full time. I was stressed, and I understand if you need money, but do not rush. You're not going to squeeze in another order. If you do, it's not going to be worth it, because you're going to be like jeopardizing your safety and other safety on the road. 100% agree with this driver. Good for them for saying that. Don't rush.
$2,300.
$2,300.
On weekends, I put in around 15 hours. And on the weekdays, I put around 6 hours.
Okay, but we need the cumulative there.
On the very first week of April, when I earned around $3,000.
Okay, first week of April, doing $3,000 Canadian in a week. All right. So I know what you're saying, and trust me, I'm going to react to this too, is Uber is showing the very best top of the bell curve margin of drivers. And I mean, I get it. That completely makes sense. This is a marketing piece. But I mean, the point is, we're trying to understand is like, is it even worth it to consider again, rideshare?
$7,000 to $8,000.
$7,000 to $8,000.
I'm trying to save so that I can invest in real estate.
Excellent.
Uber is the platform which I want to use to do something on my own.
Excellent. I love that. If you have any side hustle, And we'll assume the very, very best case scenario. And I mean, honestly, I would love it to be the best case scenario for these drivers because I want them and I want you to make, and myself, of course, as much money as possible. So what does that mean, best case scenario? It means a good dollars to mile ratio, like $1.75 plus. So we're not making cash flow, but you're not getting a good margin. That's why dollars to mile really makes sense. A lot of this work is temporary. I mean, all of the stats that I've seen, directly from these companies say when drivers are surveyed, they're like, hey, I'm doing this part-time. I'm doing this kind of for now, especially if you're financially strained. I mean, I've been there. I completely get it. Here's the thing. If you start to cash flow and you're making some money, especially let's say you're doing this as, a side hustle, which is really what this is, and you have enough money, this is a great idea to do something on your own, like this driver says. Real estate is massive. And that's something that I'm looking at doing here on the channel as well. So make sure to subscribe. I'm curious about this one.
Last week, I made about 1,900.
Okay. Good. 1,900 divided by 52 hours. So 36.54 per hour. And again, I mean, we're looking at the best examples, obviously, in this marketplace. Also, and I know that it's easy to be skeptical. I mean, I'm skeptical too. This is obviously a marketing piece, but 30 some an hour, again, it doesn't matter if it's just cash flow. Like the earnings per hour is good, but how many miles? I mean, that's the other piece of the puzzle here. So I'd be really curious, like the time makes sense. The money makes sense, but do the miles make sense? So keep that in mind. All right. Trying to give you as much of a neutral stance as I can here because I haven't even done this in a while.
1 week, I had $3,000.
$3,000 best week.
Almost $8,000. Yes, I'm working towards getting my home with my family. And that's why I'm working so hard. And also plan to open my own restaurant.
Love that. So this driver working to purchase a house with his family and open a restaurant. I mean, I love it. Look, I know there's a lot of kind of criticisms and maybe even jadedness towards some of these companies, especially if you've been doing it a while, and seeing what other maybe niches and jobs make. But if you're doing this as a side hustle, like I just said, if you can make money to, like this driver said, have enough discretionary income to at least speed up the process, purchasing a home, big payments, paying off a credit card, or starting his own business, that's huge. Just make sure, of course, you're preparing, setting money aside for taxes and all of that. But I mean, I want you to succeed. I want these drivers to succeed. I don't care what platform it's on, as long as the numbers make sense. So congrats.
$1,338.
$1,338?
34 hours.
Over 34 hours. Okay. So 1338 divided by 34 hours, another, 39 an hour.
1,800. $5,000. Really want to pay down the mortgage and getting a fuel efficient car.
Cool.
It's probably a hybrid, plug-in hybrid. I think they have to treat the job seriously, go to the place where the high demands are. They have to know their city and keep the conversation light.
I completely agree with that. I mean, even as someone who hasn't done rideshare in years, I have done the gig economy for years. And this driver, kudos to her on the earnings here, saying you have to know your city. That stands with any gig app, folks. And look, there's someone else saying that probably hasn't even watched my channel. I don't know. But knowing your city is going to help you out so much with navigating of just streets, whatnot, taking the best routes, in this case for rideshare, but knowing the power strips, areas that are really dense with restaurants and food delivery. It's knowing, okay, well, if I do Walmart Spark, how far is that location and how big is my marketplace? How far are the runs typically? And you get to know that over time. So if Donald did 2119 divided by 141 trips, wow. Wow, do you know what that equals? That equals $15 a trip. That is more than food delivery, at least most all of my recent runs. To maintain Let's take a look again. $15 per trip, over 51 hours for 2119. Now, again, I know, I agree with you. What you're probably screaming at your phone or your computer or your TV, like how many miles? I agree with you. Yes. The missing piece of the puzzle here for this video is how many miles, because I hope you understand this. Comment down below if you understand, if you want us to go a little deeper on this. Is cash flow bringing in this 2119 versus the margin? Like, okay, we did what? 39.40 an hour. How were the miles? Looking at the 1345 divided by 100 trips. Yeah, 1345 a trip for, yeah, I mean, she did over 37 an hour here. Let's check the next one. And 2582 divided by 133 trips equals 1941, 60 hours. This is the most impressive number so far. So Dennis, good job. Obviously, Uber's going to show their very best drivers. They probably put out a survey that said, you know, we'd love to hear about your most successful recent weeks. Let us know, message us back, and they could check truly, because they only picked like what, 4 or 5 drivers to highlight in these videos. I'm curious the dollars to mile average, because I'll say pretty confidently that you're going to drive more miles on rideshare. It doesn't matter if it's Uber or Lyft. You're going to drive more miles than food delivery, which you can control those miles. Now, you can do that on rideshare because when you get the request, at least to my knowledge here, comment down below, you can still see that margin. So you can still be smart when it comes to the dollars to mile ratio. As long as you're comfortable driving rideshare, because that's a completely different animal, right, than food delivery, having a passenger in your vehicle. If you're cool with all that and the numbers make sense, then there may be some earnings opportunities there. Do you believe there's a good pocket, possibly in your marketplace? This was international, again, obviously Canadian drivers here. Is there a pocket for earnings, or has it dried up? Is food delivery still the best? Grocery, parcel, there's a lot more options now, folks. Let me know your thoughts down below it. And I'm going to be carefully reading that. Maybe I need to do some Uber runs. Who knows? You know, bring it back to 2015, see how we do again. Comment down below. Hey, drop a like in this video if you did get value. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe. We'd love to have you as a part of the team here. You can also click or tap the screen here for my newest video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.